A year ago today, Rick Scott won the governor's race in one of the closest statewide elections in Florida history. His first year has been plagued with questions about his leadership style and some of his decisions. Mike Vasalinda given unprecedented access to the governor and tells us the governor seems to have found his sea legs.
It really was dark 30 when we arrived at the governor's mansion for a day behind the scenes with Rick Scott. Most days begin with a 30-minute workout. On goes Fox News. It's a regiment that he's practiced for most of his life. Next, the governor overruled his staff and allowed us into the private living quarters where something else seldom changes: breakfast. Grapefruit toast with honey, grapes, and pecans. And contrary to one of his earlier statements, newspapers, where he points out a story about college.
Would you look at what these kids are getting out of school with debt now? It's a lot of money.
Scott has been criticized for taking on anthropology as a profession without job prospects. At 7, the governor gets his first briefing about 2 morning radio appearances.
He's also interested in the September jobs numbers.
One is friendly, a second gets a little testy when the host asks about 2 recent defeats in court.
It looks like the judicial branch is trying to become the legislative branch.
This is Bob Buckhorn, the mayor of Tampa.
First on the office agenda, a meeting with the mayor of Tampa, then coffee and donuts with the press corps.
So where'd you go to school?
I went to Duke.
And you got a degree in anthropology?
A cabinet meeting where he shakes his head in disgust over skyrocketing car insurance fraud. The meeting is followed by a press gaggle where he's asked about the anniversary of his election and a dozen other topics.
I really enjoy trying to solve problems because that's what you do in business.
Early on, aides tried to tightly script the governor and restrict his messages. Now they say they're just letting Rick Scott be Rick Scott.
Come on, go ahead.
Another side of the real Rick Scott, instead of eating in at the desk as planned, we're whisked off for a diet-breaking hot dog. The shop's owner says Scott comes in about once a month. In the car, he preps for a meeting with the Black Caucus. The lack of black judges comes up, and Scott says something that makes his staff cringe.
I took a risk with Jennifer. No, I'm just joking.
More meetings follow. We leave the governor 10 hours after we began. He has 6 more hours on his schedule, and he's doing it all for the salary of a penny a month. In Tallahassee, Mike Vasalinda, News Channel 7.
Tomorrow night here at 10, Mike will focus on how the governor makes policy decisions.